Hi, I'm Peyton.
And I'm Nick, and welcome to History in Your Own Backyard.
Today we'll be covering the house of 103 North High Street. From the families to the house itself, there's so much information that we would like to share with you. The blueprints of this house date as far back as 1892, which makes this house roughly 133 years old.
One of the most prominent owners of this house was a man named William Steele. On January 9th, 1915, Steele was at this house address at a party, and there was a firearm that was recklessly used at this party, and he was in direct line of fire when it was shot and almost caused a big tragedy on this day.
Given a document that we found at the Ohio County Historical Museum, an indenture was made on the 8th day of February, 1845. This states that the house was given to Henry and Amelia James from a man named William Steele.
Throughout the years, this house has been a prominent staple of Rising Sun and additionally Jack's Place.
So our heart for this community and the history of this community is pretty big, and that's one of the things we wanted to kind of honor in the house with this wall is just kind of old photos, newspaper articles. So one of the really cool features of the house is we have these pocket doors that are still usable, which is not common, but they would have shut those and shut this door, and you could have had company in this room, just formal gatherings, just a lot of
formal meetings like this.
Formal meetings, that's right. Think tea, ladies in their big gowns, kind of thing. Again, very affluent. You had this window you could see outside. The fireplace is original. The tile is not. So the tile was put in the 70s. We did pull some of those tiles in the back up where you see the black. Those tiles are new. We just put those down because we wanted to see what was under the 70s tile. Mm-hmm. And we actually found, and I'm not going to be able to remember the name. It is the original name. Do you all know what Rookwood pottery is in Cincinnati?
I do.
Okay, Rookwood pottery is a very big pottery.
Yeah, very famous.
Very famous. When they very first started.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
It had a different name.
But anyway, those tiles that are under this 70s brown
We're from there.
are these pink tiles that are from there.
That's cool.
And so we pulled a few of them up and we've got them put away somewhere. I should see if I can find one to dig out for you, but I don't think I could. And it was just, we looked at the back, it's like hand carved, written on the back of each tile. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of neat, but we were like, we will destroy them if we try to get them out.
Yeah.
So we left the 70s and just patched it back in.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fireplaces are original because that's how you viewed your home. So this fireplace is on each side here, you'll see in a second, and it also runs upstairs. And that this was our dining room from day one, and that so the basement stairs on the other side of this wall are right here, which is where the kitchen was. So on the other side of this wall, which I'll show you in a second, the kitchen, if we were to take this plaster down, it's brick behind here. Because that's the chimney that runs to the basement, which is where the summer kitchen is. Mm-hmm. So they would have been in the basement cooking, and then the steps would have brought them in right here to serve food. Mm-hmm. So, because this didn't exist, remember, this was not here. So that's why we think this was definitely the dining room and has been the dining room. It's got access outside, like you could bring people in right there again, help or however, but there's probably so much more history to that we don't even know. That I think as you look into just this era of home, you probably learn so much. That's the oldest picture of the house we've been able to find. So yeah, this row goes up over a pulley and it comes down inside with a weight on it. And then
it stays open.
That's the weight holds it open.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah. Over here is where the coal that would have been dropped off.
You come through that window.
All of that piping.
Is this door just like?
Yeah.
It would shut. Yeah, it's original. Be careful.
Yeah.
Don't shut it. It's okay.
No, it's just
This is cool.
Oh no, it hit something.
Yeah.
It's hit the floor. Yeah. But it's a cool thing.
But that was where the bathroom is off the living room. That room, this is where it would have been, somehow there would have been access to drop coal into this space. Yeah. This is the summer kitchen. So this is where they would have had a stove.
Yeah.
and they would have cooked here, and they would have taken it up those steps.
Well, that all makes sense because it
Watch
probably
your
wouldn't
heads.
have been traditional back then to have windows in the basement. But if they
Right.
had the kitchen down here,
Right, yeah.
that makes sense.
And again, the plaster to make it, because I mean, people worked in here. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then this is the chimney.
I mean, who knows? Someone might have even slept in here.
Honestly,
Might have had like a little room or
Yeah.
something for this
A
servant.
little terrifying. It's very cluttery and messy, but it's a basement.
Yes.
And like it's just the whole thing. But this is the area that's under the turret, right, all the way up. This is the chimney, comes all the way down here, and we've covered it. It's not much to look at right now.
What's the
But this
ash
is
coming out?
this is a big hole under here, a big access. So what they would have done is burning fire upstairs. The ash they could have swept down into this, and then somebody down here, again, somebody helping, not somebody who owned the house, would have been responsible for cleaning this out. So this is just a big giant concrete space full of ash that they would have cleaned out.
The house over the years had many owners, but the one that stood out the most was Gerald and Marcella Jackson. These two were important figures in researching the house because in addition to owning the house, they also owned Jack's Place, which was originally called the Dairy Maid.
There have been a few owners of this house, and some of which owned the restaurant. In 1967, Gerald Jackson purchased the Dairy Maid and renamed it Jack's Place.
After 7 years of running the business, Gerald and Marcella sold the building to a young couple, Mary, Margaret, and John Wood. After 9 years, Mary and John sold the restaurant to Vicki Craig, who decided to continue the traditions that the previous owners had.
In September of 1996, Jack's Place was going through a rough time. Vicki lacked the help to run the restaurant, so she cut her hours and helped manage the customers' needs. However, this wasn't enough. In 2003, they permanently shut down out of business.
According to Belinda Waller, she couldn't help but feel disheartened at the news of Jack's Place closing. So in 2006, she purchased Jack's Place and refurbished it to what it is today. The current owners are still Jack and Belinda, and they were recently featured in the Facebook page for the people of Redmond.